Just dunk it. Don't even do.
Welcome everyone to episode number 14 of the Swoosh Hoops podcast. My name is Eric. We got Armani. Also, we got Ernest on the check-in. What's up? What's good with y'all? How you doing?
I mean, I'm great. I'm doing great, man. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, I'm good, man. Just came back from the West Coast. I was in San Francisco for a week. Um, I'm back and back on the east side of things, and got a lot to cover, a lot to talk about.
All right. So let's get into it. So this week, just yesterday, January 26th, was the 2-year anniversary of the unfortunate passing of one great Kobe Bryant and Gigi Bryant and the other people who were in that helicopter crash outside Los Angeles.
Out of respect, I want we got to get those names.
Yes.
I hate when it's just like it's Kobe and Gigi, and then everyone else. Like everyone went through some type of pain that day. So, but definitely rest
Yes.
in peace to those all who were involved in that horrific, untimely accident that happened. It never feels right every year. So yeah, shout out to everyone, and yeah.
Before you go, I'm gonna just say everybody's name. So we got Kobe, Gianna, we got John Altabelli, Kerry Altabelli, Alyssa Altabelli. We have Christina Mosser. I do apologize if I'm butchering names. We got Sarah Chester, uh, her daughter, Peyton Chester, and we have Ara Zabanian. That was a pilot.
Yeah.
So,
So
so rest in
Mm-hmm.
peace.
yeah, rest in peace to all those passengers on the flight. Yeah, very unfortunate situation, but yeah, 2 years removed from that time it happened. And I'll give a quick, you know, spiel of how what Kobe meant to me, and how his impact was on my life, right? And been a Kobe fan. I would say since like '97. As a kid at my age, 33. MJ was like the gold standard. Like we loved MJ, and MJ was like, the he was the end all be all with basketball. And seeing Kobe for me was a different type of energy. Like the coming in kid with the he was bald headed, on Moesha. You know what I'm saying? What really caught my eye was the slam dunk contest. Um, the year he went, and the between the legs, that was just insane because I've never seen that before. I know it's been done prior, but like I've never seen it myself. So um from there I was like, yo, who is this guy? And from there it just became a phenomenon with me. Like I kept just I was gravitated to his game because it looked like MJ, but there was something different about Kobe. He had a different swag. You know what I'm saying? And Froby was like the iconic um, player that I remember. And given the fact I got to meet him a few times, I don't want to get too deep into it, so I'll get emotional about the whole thing. But you know, it's just a rare thing to encounter a person like that who's in his mannerisms and uh the morals, his commandments that he put forth himself and how he approached the game of basketball was you're able to transition that same lifestyle and mindset to regular life. And that was one of the crazy things that, well, I won't say crazy, one of the most amazing things that he's done from that transition. um, and it was tough, but every year it doesn't get easier, but every year, I can hear Kobe say, "Hey, like, we got to push forward, and you got to keep going, right?" And that's what he would want all of us to do. So rest in peace to Kobe, rest in peace to Gigi. Prayers and love out to the Bryant family, Vanessa, and all the girls, Natalia, Bianca. Um, it's just, just all of them, just yeah. And yeah, man, Kobe's my goat, the greatest of all time in my opinion. Others may say different, but Kobe meant a lot, and he meant a lot to the Laker organization, obviously, and forever near and dear, and never forget Kobe Bean Bryant.
For me, I'll start by saying grew up also a Laker fan as well. Well, my favorite player at the time was Allen Iverson, but I remember, I believe it was my mom. She got me a Shaq jersey. I believe that was the first NBA jersey I ever owned. I can't remember. It was between Shaq and AI, but I just love Shaq's personality on the court. Um, and when they faced off, when the Lakers and the 76ers faced off, I guess you say that was like my two favorite teams at the time because like they both had my favorite players. And when it was playing against each other, I was just like, yo, like who do I choose? But I just love Shaq's energy, just love the way he dominated the game. And I was like, you know what? AI, I'm still rocking with AI, but like Shaq is my guy. So then this kid Kobe, and I'm just like, I like what they got here. They got a nice duo here, They was winning championships and stuff like that. And then what broke my heart was that I just started to see how Shaq was just really really lazy, and Kobe was that annoying coworker. It's kind of like we get paid the same, but like you telling me how to do my stuff. Like I'm the star, but I have my co-star telling me that I ain't bringing it every single day, and like just a young kid just looking at that, it was just like, wow, like that's really crazy. Just like that arrogance, kind of like what Ernest said, from day one, Kobe knew what he was going to be. It already was set in his mind that he was going to be great, and he was out to do that. So when the two broke up, with all the trade rumors and everything, and when Shaq went to Miami and I was just like, damn, now I'm torn again, like, between Kobe and Shaq now. So I was like, you know what? I'll just stick around. I'll stick with the Lakers. I'll stick with Kobe. And then everything on top of everything, like just the worst just started happening with like court cases. The Lakers wasn't good. Kobe was a one-man army. And then you just had a lot of people just saying that, well, Kobe's not going to win another championship. He's never going to get back to the land. And then it hurt even more that Shaq got one in 2006 with the Miami Heat. So I was like, bro, like this guy, Kobe cannot get a break. He had the court cases and everything. Like, and it was also like the league loved Kobe and they started to turn their back on him. Like it was just really, really weird, it was like a weird energy that was going on around Kobe. So then um I talk so highly about the 2009 Lakers because like, that's when Kobe redeemed himself. That's when he got back to, well, after losing to Boston, that's when he got back to the finals and won his fourth championship, and people say he couldn't do it without Shaq. So it was just all about like perseverance, all the negative energies that was going on in his life, with the court cases, with losing Shaq, with people saying you can't do it, losing to Boston, or T-Mac is better than you. Like it was all of these different things that piled on top of each other. Like, so I think as a kid, it was just like, just that mentality that he had to persevere and like keep going when things get difficult, to constantly keep the train moving. And even in his later years, you seen Kobe on the bench banged up, ice on his knees, ice on his shoulder. He tore his right rotator cuff, and he was playing with his left hand. It's like, bro, like what are you doing, man? Like you don't teach that. You don't teach guts, and that man just had just so much passion, so much drive, and like I just take that with me every single day, and I constantly think, and it's crazy, I don't really want to get in depth into it, but the day that everything struck, I called out of work that day. That was like the first time I called out of work in such a very long time, and like I thought I had a like a throat infection or something like that. But I remember sitting in bed, and after I hung up the phone, called out my job, my mom came in the room. She was like, "Calling out to work." I'm like, "Yeah." And then I'm just sitting in bed. I'm just like, "What would Kobe do?" I'm like, Kobe would have this throat infection and go to work. And it's crazy how hours later everything happens. So I constantly remind myself about that. Like when things get tough, to constantly like just persevere. But I have Mamba mentality tatted on my arm. So that's a constant daily reminder. Like Kobe's with me, and to always keep going. So rest in peace to Kobe, rest in peace to Gigi, and rest in peace. Like the legacy will definitely continue.
I think for me it was if I remember him about the most was, yeah, I remember that playoff series against the Utah Jazz, the first time they played with Shaq and Kobe and Karl Malone and Jock Stockton, and it was Game 5 when Lakers had a chance to win the game, and Kobe Bryant airballed those two shots. Everyone was like, "Okay, how you let this 18-year-old kid straight out of high school shoot those two jumpers airballed in the playoff game?" But for me, I saw it in a different light. Like this, if this kid can take the pressure and shoot those shots in a playoff game, imagine him 2 years down the line, 3 years down the line, 4 years down the line. And we saw the maturation of his game and his personality grew right in front of our eyes to the point where he became one of the best players in the game, regardless. Um, I just thought his competitiveness was just top notch. His spirit of competing at the highest level against against whoever he faces, whoever in wherever situation that they were in, you knew that Kobe was gonna show up, put in that work, and give it all that he had. And then remember, he did a documentary with Spike Lee called "Doing Work." It was about that 61-point game he had at Madison Square Garden, in which he literally lit up that night.
It was it was Spike Lee's fault.
Yeah, it was his fault as usual.
As every play that breaks a record in Madison Square Garden,
Exactly.
it's Spike Lee's fault.
Steph Curry. There you go.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
You
but
know,
it's
it's real quick. It's just that Kobe, no matter what, man, like that was the thing. Like that was his mantra. No matter what, like I'm gonna get this shit done. Like through
hey, you
hell and
heard the
high
person
water,
cursing.
through hell and high water. It's like he was gonna make an impact to win the game, no matter what it took.
Yeah, and basically you saw it throughout this whole career, from his first game at MSG to the last game where he scored 60 points, and just and also remember the game against the Warriors back in 2013, late in the season. He tore his Achilles, went to the free throw line, made two free throws, and you saw him limping off the court, and it was like, wow. Before, like, right after the injury, he limped to the free throw line, shot those two free throws, and went back on to the bench. And it's like, hmm. See, that's the competitor. That's the spirit that you need in order for you to play, in order for you to compete at the highest level. And he did that. So for for me, it was just his competitiveness, his spirit, his energy, and his willingness to win at any cost. And that's how I remember. That's how I'm gonna remember him by. And it was really unfortunate what happened. I just wish that he still would be here, just to like see, just to like wanted to see where his next phase of life was going to be. So I was really intrigued about what he was going to do with his daughter Gigi, because she was on her way to UConn, and she was on her way to NBA WNBA stardom. So his spirit's still here. It's alive and well. You can see it throughout the whole basketball world. So much love to Kobe, Gigi, and the rest of the families who were deeply affected by it. So now from there we're going to segue to this season's surprising and disappointing teams in the NBA. Ernest, I want to start with you. Give me your surprising team so far, and give us your reason.
Just one or a couple?
A couple.
Um, who I would say, obviously Memphis. I think that's the number one. Didn't expect Memphis to be this good. They remind me a lot of, that OKC team when the Lakers had to face them in I think 2011 or 2010.
Yeah, I think
2010.
2010.
2010. With the year we won the chip, we went 6 games against them. And it was a tough series. And
Pau Gasol bailed us out.
yeah, he did. Kobe had a lot of he was struggling primarily throughout that series because, you know, the length of Kevin Durant and, the quickness of Russell Westbrook at the time. Ibaka was a defensive force back then. And John Morant reminds me of a young Russ. And obviously, I'm not saying Jaren Jackson reminds me of Kevin Durant, but it's just something about that team. I can start to see they're gonna be a tough out, and they're gonna be like contenders in years to come very soon. Um, so I'm gonna say Memphis for one. Um, right now they're sitting at the 3 seed. So I think the tiers are right now are Golden State. Well, actually, Phoenix is the best team in the league. So we're gonna go Phoenix, Golden State, and Memphis, and then it's like everyone else, right? Like Utah, the Lakers, Dallas, Denver, the Clippers if they get Kawhi or PG back. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with Denver when they get their stars back. I just feel like they're gonna be they're gonna be really, really, really tough. And it's gonna be a tough out in the playoffs. Another surprising team. Um, I thought it's tough because Chicago. I know I called Chicago as a top team in the East the beginning of the year. Go back and check the tapes. I was looked at like I was crazy. People called me crazy, and I was like, "No, Chicago's going to be really, really good." People are sleeping on them because of the tempo and how they can defend, and they have young wings that can just fly all over the floor. And they've shown that in the first half of the year. Just injuries just really piled up on them. That was very unfortunate. Obviously, DeMar was out for some time. Patrick Williams still has yet to hit the floor. Caruso's out 6 to 8 weeks. Zach Levine's now out 6 to 8 weeks.
Derrick
Derrick
Jones
Jones
Jr.,
Jr. is now out. Like it's
Lonzo.
just yeah,
Lonzo,
yeah, Lonzo Caruso. So it's just injuries on top of injuries. So they're gonna slip a little bit, but and they'll drop kind of their natural seeding outside the top teams in the East, but they're definitely a surprising team for me. And then um honestly, and the other team for me is the Cleveland Cavaliers, man. Like, jeez, like they legit have a big three, a big young three coming up with Garland, Mobley, and Jared Allen. And Kevin Love is the Kevin Love of 2015 now, all of a sudden. You know what I'm saying? And
he
you know,
buried my Knicks on Tuesday night, man.
yeah, he
He
did.
buried my Knicks, bro.
And you have Isaiah Coro who's playing really well. The addition of Rondo is gonna, I'm telling you, it's gonna help them tremendously, especially in the playoffs. Um, I like their makeup, man. They're just gritty. They remind me of like Memphis of the East, almost in a sense. They get after it. They don't take plays off.
And no
Um,
Colin Sexton.
right. But I think they knew it. Bickerstaff and those guys kind of knew like this is why they went in the Garland direction.
Hmm.
Because they knew Garland was probably the better player as far as collectively as ingratiating his teammates. More so, like Colin Sexton was more like I'm a point of attack scorer. So yeah, those are my teams right now. I would say Memphis, Chicago, and Cleveland.
Okay. I'll go. So most surprising, I did have Memphis. Ernest hit it dead on the head. It's just crazy that they're young and they're just playing out of their mind, and they actually given a lot of teams like you have to pay attention to this team in the playoffs. They definitely remind you of like a young, and the thing is that they still play gritty, like they're still physical. So some of that shades of like that grit and grind is still there, even though with this team and the way they're built. They knock you, they bump you a lot. Offense and defensively. And the fact that they were still holding the whole ship down while John Moran was out was like it was pretty impressive because like you could look at their team and be like, nah, like they're gonna flunk back. Remember at the beginning of the year we said they what play in. We said that I think we all agreed that there was gonna be a play-in team, and like they're third in the West right now, which is crazy. But also then again, the West hasn't really been really stacked like that. Like you said, it's been the top three teams, and then everybody else just falls in line. So Memphis been really surprising. Also Chicago. My reason is I didn't think the fit between Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan was really going to work. Two guys who both need the basketball in their hand, who are both really good mid-range scorers. Like I didn't know how that was going to
I
work.
saw the vision, man. I saw it. I was like, this is why I kind of wanted DeMar DeRozan on the Lakers because what he's able to bring is an offensive repertoire that doesn't need to be set up. Like he can just go get his bucket,
Yeah.
and him and Zach do the same things, but because they're so dynamic and scoring in different ways, it just works naturally. They're unselfish players.
Right. And the feed on that is that DeMar DeRozan, ever since, his days in San Antonio and now, like he's been pretty playing really good basketball, like really efficient. And I believe him being in the Popovich system just made him a smarter basketball player. So yeah, I didn't know how that was gonna work. So that's two for me for surprising teams. Uh I mean, also disappointed teams, you can obviously say who. I don't even want to talk about them right now. Um, but I also say like disappointed teams. I will go with the Atlanta Hawks for a team that went to the conference finals with the 6 games with the Bucks. You would have thought that they would have been on a different type of energy, more hungrier this season. But it's just like but we also see red flags in the beginning of the season. Well, in free agency, when they didn't really make any key moves, we said that they didn't move the needle for us to see that they gotten better. It's kind of like it's like, yeah, we made it. All right, next season, what do we do now? Like, you got to continue that, or the rest of the East is going to pass you by. Like, we're looking at Brooklyn, we're looking at Milwaukee, we're looking at Miami, we're looking at Cleveland now, and the Hawks is we're there. The Hawks is 12th in the Eastern Conference right now, which is really crazy to say for a team that went to the conference finals last year. Even Trey Young has been having some really inconsistent nights, and I know it was a struggle for him to get to a solid start in the season because remember the refs was calling a lot of fouls differently, and it impacted like key players like Damian Lillard, Trey Young, and James Harden. So it was hard for him to get into a rhythm when the things that he's usually used to are not being called. So, so yeah, that's what I have here for most surprising and most disappointing teams. Let me see if there's anybody else who kind of
For me, I didn't touch on anybody disappointing, but
yeah. Go ahead.
for me, obviously the Lakers, right? Like we thought this was something that was going to kind of we knew it was going to be like a bump in the road a little bit, but I didn't foresee
I
it
think it'll be
being
this
this
bad,
bad.
man.
Like we're I reckon now it's 24-25. We just lost to the 76ers by like 20 and some change. Yeah, man, it just hasn't. the Russ fit and everything, and the drama. And we're gonna get into all this a little later about the Lakers and the drama, but like it's just not a fit. And then on top of that, you couple that with the injuries. Like, AD's been hurt. He just got back. LeBron was out for 12 games. Now he was out tonight too. And then like Russ has been the constant, but like there hasn't been an opportunity for a long stretch of time that we've seen LeBron, AD, and Russ play together, right? And obviously the roster makeup is questionable. There's a lot of things going on. So you have that. Also, I think another disappointing team, the New York Knicks. Like, let's just get that out the way. Like the Knicks 4C last year actually added better talent and got worse. There Julius Randle has fallen off a cliff. He is playing like a minimum guy. Like it's sad to
He's
see
playing mid. He's
because
playing below mid. He's
because
playing below mid. Thumbs down.
because the thing is with like I hate to see the slander Julius is getting, but it's deserving. Because listen, at the end of the day, you go to New York and you put up this incredible season, most improved player. You lead your team to a top 4 seed in the East. The expectation is for you to get better, right? Like that was supposed to happen, and he has not lived up to that. So yeah, the Knicks definitely disappointing. And then, uh,
They were talking about trading
obviously,
Randall.
yeah. But listen, we're gonna get to all that. We're gonna get to all that.
Yeah.
And obviously, as you said, I'm on the Atlanta Hawks, right? The same thing as far as the same feedback I gave the Knicks. I give them. It's like again, top 5 seed in the East was supposed to, they kept the core together. So that chemistry should allow them to get better and work on things. And, they were, to get that experience going all the way to the conference finals. And now you have a team that's barely trying to make it in the playoffs. So again, disappointing for them. Um, and the West is kind of tough to kind of gauge anyone else aside from the Lakers because everyone else has been ridiculed with injuries, right? Like Denver has been ridiculed, the Clippers been ridiculed with injuries. Um,
Dallas.
Dallas has been hurt, in and out. And they're also, I would say, they're a surprising team too. Dallas, they're better than what I thought they were going to be. And same thing for the Sixers. The Sixers are only 2 games out of the second seed in the East right now, right after this win. So like without no Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid playing like an MVP. I think right now it's him and LeBron neck and neck. I would give the nod to Embiid only because they just have the better record. Like what he's doing is contributing to more of the winning than what LeBron has been doing for the Lakers. It's just LeBron has to do everything because again, yeah, there's an issue there with the roster. So those are my disappointing team, and then my like teams that I'm like disappointed in, but like okay, maybe is like the Hornets. Like, I thought they were going to be better than what they are. You know what I'm saying? But what you're starting to see little improvement with them with Miles Bridges and obviously LaMelo and all those guys. So yeah, man, those are my disappointing teams for sure. Lakers, Knicks, and Hawks.
All right. So my surprising teams I have. Um, I'm gonna say Miami Heat one because I knew there would be a good team, but not an elite, not like one
Uh,
of
to
those top
to
teams in
me,
the East.
they were going to be like the top three. I always thought it was going to be Miami, Brooklyn, and Milwaukee in any iteration that you throw it
And
in there,
No,
and then throw in
but
Chicago.
but
okay,
my
go ahead.
thing, but my theory was that okay, they were in the middle of the pack in the East because he had the Brooklyn, he had Milwaukee as the top tiers, and then he had Miami as one of the second tiers. But to
Man,
me,
them goons
listen,
in Dade
listen,
County.
listen. The way that they play defense and the way that they play off the ball with Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo, the length, the way they play defense, like yeah, like take for example last night. They literally just shut out the Knicks. The way that they play zone, they play like a trap. It's just like you just like good luck playing them in a playoff series because it's gonna be hell playing against them. I mean, that Miami Heat team they really impressed me a lot. And also these were the reason why I said they're a surprising team because all the injuries that they had and a lot of players missing games. Bam just came back. He had that he missed 24 games with he had that thumb surgery. Jimmy Butler was in and out of the lineup. Now you have Kyle Lowry out the lineup with personal reasons. So, and they've been trying to mix and match with undrafted players from the G League, off the scrap heap, and they're fitted into the Spoelstra system. I mean, and it's like they're putting pieces together like it's like a puzzle, and everything fits. And now with they're gonna start having their core rotation back. I think they're gonna be even more dangerous in the playoffs, and
Yeah, and
I just
Oladipo
think
comes
that they're
back
gonna
in
be
a few weeks.
Oladipo is coming back, so they're gonna be a real problem come playoff time in the East. That's my one team that I'm surprised by. Another team I'm surprised, the Minnesota Timberwolves. I saw them as like a fringe playing team, but the way that the Western Conference is this season, and and the play of Anthony Edwards, who's a monster. I went to see him last week against the Knicks. He's that dog. He's that guy, and he's gonna be one of the top players in the future. I didn't see them as like a fringe top six playoff team, but they're right there in that playoff race. I just think that the young guys that they have with Cat, Edwards, J.D. McDaniel, um, D'Angelo Russell, I think that their energy and the way they play, I think it's real refreshing for that franchise because they need it. They only made the playoffs one time since 2004. That was when Tibbs was there with Jimmy Butler and Karl-Anthony Towns and the crew. So I think they can sustain it for the entire season and maybe crack the top six because I just think that
No.
I just think right now the Western Conference is not as deep, and you're gonna get players injured left and right going to after All-Star break, and you never know if one of these teams can crack the top six and one of these teams can fall off the top six. So they're another surprise team for me. I got another surprising team for me. Um, the Toronto Raptors. I did not see this Raptor team.
Being
I did
better
not
than
see
the
this
Knicks.
being better than what their roster is. That team is a wing factory of 6'8" and longer. I mean, OG Ananobi, Scotty Barnes is a top candidate for Rookie of the Year, along with Evan Mobley from Cleveland. Um, and I just think the coaching of Nick Nurse has a lot to do with their development going forward. And I just think that they're going to be one of those teams that's going to cause problems coming in the future. And I just like the direction that they're going right now because last year they were in Tampa, they're all out of whack. They were displaced, nowhere to go. They couldn't go back to Canada due to the restrictions. Now they're home. They're getting their feet wet. They're establishing the culture that they set back in 2019 when they won the championship. So it's just a continuation, but they're rebuilt at the same time. So I expect them to continue going forward in that direction. My disappointing teams, I'm gonna say Brooklyn. Here's why.
They're a top 3 seed.
Listen, listen. There's fire. There's smoke
What?
brewing in Brooklyn. Listen,
I,
listen,
I
listen
wouldn't
to me.
say
No,
disappointing.
listen
I
to
would say
me.
like
No, listen to
rumors,
me.
yes, but disappointing? I don't know about that.
No, because
Yo, Eric,
here's the
go
thing.
ahead. Go ahead,
No,
bro.
no. I expect. I
There's
expected
Armani.
them.
There's a little Nick hate in there. There's a
No, no,
little
no, no, no. I'm
little
not hating.
sprinkle.
Yo,
It's
Eric,
not.
go ahead, bro. Go ahead,
See,
bro.
see. Let me talk my spiel. All right.
Go ahead. Go
I'm
ahead.
saying I'm saying disappointed because they're supposed to be one of the top teams in the East. The fact that they are like only a couple, they don't have like what they have a under 500 record at home is disappointing at the most. They're 12-13 at home. That's not good for a team of that caliber to only be 12-13 at home. That's real disappointing. Um,
Let me just say real quick. I just think the issue with the Nets, real quick, is that they're just so top heavy, and I
that's
guess
the thing.
you can say the same thing with us, but the difference is that they don't have good quality role players. You know, outside of KD, Kyrie, and Harden, You got guys like James. I went to the game the other day, so like I just seen the drop off. You know, when Katie's not there, you got James Johnson, Dwayne Benbury, Bruce Brown, and a lot of guys. It's like every single game somebody gets hurt, they're just picking up players for the G League, and like there's no continuity in that. You know, but I do understand that Joe Harris, one of their guys who are on the roster, he is injured. So I think it's just tough, but that's just the makeup of their roster, you know. But I do agree, like to not have a not so good record in their own building, like that's fishy. But go ahead.
Well, and also the way they constructed the roster after those three guys is like, okay, you need a little bit more balance out of your roster just in case if your top three guys are injured. And I just don't see it with this roster. So it's
Look,
either
I'm,
I agree with you.
listen, they need Kevin Durant back. They need Kevin Durant back healthy by after All-Star break, because if this continues, and also the fact that we're hearing rumors swirling around James Harden not liking what's going on, what's not liking about living in Brooklyn, wants to go down to Philly in the offseason and this and that. And it's just another distraction after another distraction with Kyrie Irving, and then out of the lineup, can't play home games in Brooklyn, but can't play road games. There's an expectation with that. If you construct a roster with the three NBA All-Stars, you're supposed to be way better than what you are right now, and they're not showing that. And they need to clean that up as soon as possible, or else it's going to get real ugly for them.
all right.
All right, so
Can I interject really quick?
I got one more.
Interject. All right, go ahead. Go
Okay,
ahead,
what
and,
is
and
it?
go ahead, and I'll rebuttal your next take. Go ahead.
All right, so in my last disappointing team, my last disappointing team, you know what? I'm saying Boston, the
That's a good one.
Celtics,
That's a good one.
because here's the thing. You still have Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, but their games, the way they play, it doesn't mesh at all. And they had all time from like a couple years ago to at least revamp the roster around those two, just to at least complement those players. Now, they're stuck in mud with those two. Also, you're hearing trade rumors about them like almost every single year. Their coach has been calling them out left and right every single game. They're way too inconsistent. They can't shoot threes, and I just and they're barely over 500 at home, and they're playing team sitting at 8th place. I did expect them to be better than what they are, but then again, last year they finished 7th in the East, a playing team. So, but I thought that with Ime Udoka coming in with a fresh new voice, new blood as the head coach, I thought that it will inject some more energy out of that roster, but it seems like it hasn't.
It's Dennis
It's
Schroeder. He's the problem.
and you have Dennis Schroeder, Marcus Smart. They're not point guards. They're like more of a shooting guards, and just the makeup of that roster doesn't work. They're gonna have to. I think they're gonna have to make a trade, either trade deadline or in the offseason, because I just don't think they can go on forward with this roster going forward. So those are my surprise teams. Those are my disappointing teams.
And I have a trade to propose for Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. We're gonna get into that. I think it'll go well for the two teams that I have involved. But to rebuttal your Nets take, man, you're making me defend the Nets. I hate that.
You don't have to defend them.
So what's their home record this year?
The 12-13.
12-13. Last year they were 28-8 at home, and on the road they were 20-16. So by the road record, you would estimate they're not really good on the road, right? Here's the thing with the Brooklyn Nets. All the points were valid. I mean, but they're only valid if Kevin Durant is not playing. We damn well know Kevin Durant is coming back. At the end of the day, when those three guys are together, No one in the league is beating them. It's just keeping 100. No one in the league is beating them. We all know. Listen, Milwaukee. You give credit when credit is due. They did what they were supposed to do. Giannis put up. He went toe to toe with KD. I don't care what no one says, right? Despite him not having the same scoring repertoire as Kevin Durant, he took it to him. Can't take nothing away for what the Milwaukee Bucks did. But Kevin Durant was a inch away from closing that series out, and who knows what would have happened? He would have got a Kyrie back, or maybe not. At the very least, James Harden would have came back in that conference finals. Um, I don't see the Hawks beating them, and then I definitely I don't see Phoenix beating them neither. Listen, if those two guys are on the court together, despite all the rumors and all the crap that's going on behind the scenes, on the court, yes, they're top heavy, but those two guys on the court, no one's beating them. If and we do anticipate that to happen. They're top three seed in the East. They only dropped down because there's no Kevin Durant, and obviously Kyrie's only playing road games. So James Harden is kind of trying to do everything with role players who are not that good. This is keeping a hundred. Like we saw the games, right? Um, Pump the brakes. They'll be fine. They'll be fine. I know it's disappointing to say the least because all the distractions that's happening around them, but they're still a top three seed in the East who will have home court advantage. And if I were them, I would slide down even more. Give me the fifth seed. That way I have Kyrie Irving for most of the games throughout the playoffs. Um, and that gives them the best chance to win. I'm just saying, like, yeah, the Nets are disappointing to your estimation. You were spitting facts, but let's not forget they're third seed, and only reason why they were third is because they were number one seed the whole year until the injuries started happening and the COVID stuff started. They're missing Joe Harris, they're missing Kevin Durant, they're missing Kyrie Irving. Like those are key cogs in their offense that make them successful. So the same way the Bulls are ridiculed with injuries and they're not as disappointing, the Nets were a number one seed in the East this whole time until the injuries happened. So I'm just saying I think they're at a fault because of the injuries and COVID, which everyone is dealing with. So I kind of don't count that against them. So that's just my opinion. But I do have a trade to propose for James Harden if he's listening. We'll get into that next.
All right, what's the trade proposal? What's the trade
So
proposal? If you want to hear it.
so as we go into what we got 2 weeks into the trade deadline roughly.
Yep. Remember, we had him on last 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm. There is a lot of chatter around the league. We could go down the names of Jeremy Grant, Miles Turner, Sabonis, James Harden now. All of a sudden, the Ben Simmons saga that's been going on since the offseason. Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, um, you know,
Julius
even
Randle, Darren
Julius
Fox,
Rand, Julius Randle, Darren Fox, John Wall, Russell Westbrook. Like the
Buddy
list goes
Hield.
on.
Yeah.
But Buddy Hield, the list goes on of all the movement that can potentially happen around the league. So I have a couple of trades that I would like to propose, and you guys will let me know, yay or nay, right? So the first most talked about, and I shared this in the group chat already, but so the first one, I'll go with the Jaylen Brown situation. Obviously, the Jaylen Brown situation is not really working with Jason Tatum. I personally feel they need to build around one or the other. They kind of have the CJ McCollum, Damian Lillard conundrum. Um, where the organization is going to have to choose to build around one, and then add all stars or whatever that are more comparable to their main players. So I would say Boston should call up Memphis and say, hey, you guys are playing well without Dillon Brooks. Looks like you don't really need Dillon Brooks because Desmond Bane's kind of taking over that role. I would propose Dillon Brooks and a second round pick or two, and however other player you can attach to make the money work for Jaylen Brown and a couple of picks. That gives Boston a clear understanding of, okay, Jason Tatum's the guy we are building around. You send around him around players that are dogs, and then you give Memphis a third legit scorer, possibly four, depending on Desmond Bain's like development. And I think they'll be a legit contender in the West to win it all. What do you guys say to that?
Okay, so I just had to look up real quick. I would just nix the trade a little bit. I think it's fair on both sides, but I think to sweeten the deal, especially in I believe Boston's case, if Boston is getting Dylan Brooks, I think instead of a second round, I think they got to give up a first round. Only because Jalen is an all-star. That's the
That's
only
true.
reason.
Okay.
That's the only thing I would change about that trade, because Jalen Brown is more polished, and we've clearly seen that. He came in the league as a defensive player, like strictly defensive, and I guess you could kind of say he took the Jimmy Butler path. He worked on his offensive game, and now he's a threat. He's a legitimate threat on the offensive end. So I think you trade him to Memphis. Memphis gets a huge W. Not saying Boston drops off. Not as crazy, but it's just like, all right, like you do get a clear understanding of who the guy is, and that is Jason Tatum. But as far as Dylan, I think you're gonna have to add that first round pick to kind of like sweeten the deal. It won't be high, but just like you know that in like the future drafts, you might get somebody like either from the 20th to like the 30th pick, depending on what Memphis do. Even if it's their pick, I just see the first round pick kind of like the extra kicker, to that trade.
Or here's another trade proposal. Same player.
I'll add a protected first round pick if it's that low.
Yeah, I will add a top 10 protected or something
top
like
10,
that.
top 10, top 15 protected.
Yeah.
Just to sweeten the deal a little bit for Memphis.
Here's another swing at the fence for Boston. Marcus Smart and Jaylen Brown to Toronto for Fred VanVleet and OG Anunoby.
Ooh.
I think both teams win in that scenario, honestly.
Definitely do. Yeah. Definitely do, because I think this type of you said Fred VanVleet and OG, that's crazy on the defensive end for Boston. What? Yo. And I hate to talk about the Celtics, but I think that will work out for both teams, especially the way both teams want to play. I think you add Marcus Smart and who else did you say? You said Jalen?
Marcus Smart and Jaylen Brown for OG Anunoby and Fred VanVleet.
And you pair him up with Scotty Barnes too. That's kind of crazy. And Siakam, that's kind of crazy, man.
And for Boston, you give them a legit point guard that they need.
Yeah.
Yep.
I like that. Yep. A point guard who's a threat on both sides of the ball. Put it like that.
Exactly.
And he's pretty consistent. You don't really hear a lot of things about Fred VanVleet. He had 10 points this night, but had 30 the next. Like, he's a dog, and he's a clear reason why Toronto won that year. He definitely showed up in that game 6.
Yep. I like that trade a lot.
Yeah.
I have a trade for the Knicks. Alec Burke in the 2022 first round pick via Charlotte.
That's the protector pick.
Yes, Alec Burke and sorry, I'm looking at the names now. And Taj Gibson. Sorry, Alec Burke and Taj Gibson for a 20 and the 2022 first round pick protected from Charlotte to New Orleans for Josh Hart and Neil Walker-Alexander.
Josh Hart?
Yeah.
So New Orleans.
Josh
New Orleans
Hart and Nikhil.
Yep. Nikhil Walker-Alexander and Josh Hart.
Gets.
I thought you said Charlotte.
No,
that's the Charlotte pick that the Knicks are trading.
The Knicks have the Charlotte pick.
Gotcha.
They have Charlotte's pick. So.
They shipped it to New Orleans. Gotcha.
Yes.
Gotcha.
No, wait. Don't they trade that pick to Atlanta?
Right. That first round pick went to Atlanta. My bad. So, sorry, guys. The trade is null and void because no first round pick. Um,
I got a trade proposal. Okay, it's between the Kings and the Knicks.
Okay.
All right. Kings send Harrison Barnes in the Kings future first round and Atlanta's 2022 second round unprotected to New York for Julius Randle.
I don't know if I'm doing that. Harrison Barnes ain't really. I mean, yeah, you get the pick, but you're really going to be bad then. Like you
Yeah.
know, like now now it's just rebuild mode and focus on the young kids because Harrison Barnes.
Well, think about it. They remember earlier today it was reported by Brian Windhorst that they're willing to shop the vets to clear minutes for the young guys.
How about this? How about this for the Knicks?
Mm-hmm.
The Knicks trade Kemba Walker. It's a 3-team trade between the Knicks, Mavericks, and Clippers. All right, so hear me out. The Knicks acquire Trey Burke, Justice Winslow, and a 2022 second round pick. In exchange, they send Kemba Walker to the Mavericks, and then the Mavericks send Maxi Kleber. Um, oh, never mind. Never mind. This trade won't work either because I was looking for the salary for Kevin Knox, and he's in Atlanta.
He's in
So,
Atlanta.
so never mind. The salaries wouldn't match up. Salaries wouldn't match up. Man, the Knicks are in hell. Jeez.
But I think even
No,
even even
actually,
if that trade does go through, I think just the Kemba fit on the Mavericks will be kind of weird. Like you're telling him to play a 6-man role because you're not playing. He's not playing the 2 guard. You know.
he's playing point and he can't play back to backs.
That's
But
true. That's
with
true.
with him and Luka though, that combo, like I don't know if I like that combo, on like especially
The,
on both sides of the
the
ball.
defensively, it'll be a muck up, but I think offensively, it'll still be a threat.
Yeah,
Um, and you guys can get into your trades. And again, I'm horrible at this, but here's one trade I pray to the heavens, to the gods, to the basketball gods that this can go down. No, it's not a Russell
I
Westbrook
think I know.
and a first round draft
Yeah,
pick to the Rockets for John Wall. If we're gonna do a John Wall trade, that first round pick, that 2027 first round
yeah.
pick will not be included in that.
No,
I
I don't
would
know
do a
why.
straight up trade. Right.
Exactly.
Now I would also entertain Russell Westbrook and THT to Houston for John Wall and Eric Gordon.
Mhm.
I would entertain. I would definitely entertain
Mm.
that because Eric Gordon is exactly what the Lakers need. Now,
Knockdown
I, I
shooter.
know I know a lot of Laker fans are enamored with like, oh, we can't give up THT for that, because in a sense, THT is attached to like the Jeremy Grant talks and the Miles Turner talks. So there's a bigger fish out there we could catch, but I don't think that comes to fruition. But the trade I think should go down should be between, and that's obviously contingent on the whole James Harden thing with the Sixers and the Nets, whatever, whatever, whatever. But let's just say, sake of argument, James Harden doesn't want to go anywhere. He comes out publicly before the deadline, says, "I'm staying put. I'm re-signing with the Nets." Cool. I say the Lakers, Rob Pelinka gets on the phone and gets Sacramento on the phone, Vlade Divac and all them guys. Get Shaq on the phone too. He's a co-owner and all that. Get Daryl Morey, Ruben and Meek Mill and all them on the phone in Philly and say let's do a 3-team trade. So the Kings, or the Lakers portion would be in exchange we will send Taylor Horton Tucker and Russell Westbrook to the Sacramento Kings and a 2027 first round pick that goes to Philly in exchange for Ben Simmons, Buddy Hield, and Damon Jones, while the Kings acquire Russell Westbrook, Tobias Harris to get that contract off the Sixers, and Taylor Horton Tucker, and then the Sixers receive Harrison Barnes and De'Aaron Fox. Thoughts?
I think for this trade, the Kings lose in the end, but
It's the Kings. They're rebuilding.
that gives the Kings right. I think putting Russ in that type of situation is also going to kind of like put him into the situation that Chris Paul was in when he got traded to Oklahoma. It was kind of like, what are you doing here?
But
You
it gives him, honestly, it gives him an opportunity to build his worth again. I think.
Right. And
He goes
also,
on a team that's not good. He showcases off. He shows out, and he gets some team to bite and just be like, okay, he still
yeah,
has it. We're relieving Russ.
right. So, also one thing about these trades that you also got to remember is that they're also not, um, and what's the word I'm looking for? Like, it's not forever. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
It's not eternal.
It's
So,
not.
like I said, with the whole Chris Paul situation, we seen that when he got traded to Oklahoma, like he was just there for a season, and
Hmm.
next he went to the Phoenix Suns. So, I mean, the trade does work out for LA. It works out for Philly. Um, it works. It does and it doesn't for Sacramento. Like when you're looking at short term and
I
also
say this for Sacramento. Like
little nicks in it.
when it comes for like the short term concern, Sacramento, like now you get to put tickets. You sell tickets because Russ is is a box office type of player. So you still get the fan base to come in and enjoy games and watch Russ put on a show, right? You get Taylor Horn Tucker's development, and you can match him up with Tyrese Halliburton and kind of like build those two guys together. And obviously Tyrese Harris he's a fill-in, and he's off the books in 2 years. So, um,
It is
you know,
a healthy
yeah, he has a
contract.
healthy contract. And then
Yeah.
obviously from the Sixer portion, you get De'Aaron Fox and Harrison Barnes. You get a point guard, an electrifying point guard who can shoot, not really well, but he shoots better than Ben Simmons, and can get to the basket. And I think will pair well with Joel Embiid. And then you got Harrison Barnes, who's a defender, right? Who's a cheaper Tobias Harris. Also gives them potential earnings for a max slot down the line, just in case if they want another player to add to the roster. So, and then obviously with the Laker front, you get up from under Russ. You have Ben Simmons now for your future because he still has 4 more years on his deal. You pair him up with Anthony Davis as LeBron starts to transition out, and it's not it won't be as a hard of adjustment to transition them out to transition from Ben Simmons to LeBron. I mean, from LeBron to Ben Simmons, and then I think with the mental health issue with Simmons, I think the perfect environment to have him under is under LeBron James. As from a leadership standpoint. So I mean, again, this is pie in the sky, guys. Wishful thinking. This probably is a 99.9% chance that this trade will not happen. I'm pretty sure, but it's an option to think about. Um, but I want to ask you guys couple. I'm gonna shoot fire a couple questions. You guys are gonna answer. First question is: do you think the Lakers are gonna trade Russell Westbrook?
No. So
I don't think so.
yeah. So when it came
But
down to it, go
but
go ahead, Eric. Go ahead.
sorry. But I was listening to the Low Post podcast not so long earlier today before we got on, and Bobby Marks was on it as one of the guests, and he was proposing between the Lakers
Oh, Eric got cut up.
up
Okay,
about
Eric, got to repeat
about
that. Eric,
is that
repeat that because you cut off. We didn't hear anything you said.
so Bobby Marks was saying if I'm the Knicks, I'll call up the Lakers about Russell Westbrook. I'm like, huh?
We
So he's
We don't want
so
Julius Randle. Get out of
no no
here.
no 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 no
We
no.
don't
This
want-
this this
we don't want
this this
Kemba. We don't want
this
NBA. We don't want none
no
of
no.
them.
So this is what Bobby Marks proposed to trade for.
y'all want Russ or Julius
We don't
Randle on
even
the
want
same
Patrick
team?
Ewing's jersey. We don't want that.
Yo, and hold on, Eric, in the Garden, Russell Westbrook and Julius Randle on the same
Listen,
team.
listen, I
Oh
was
my
telling you though.
God.
Yo, you know how
Okay,
many
Oh
so
my
parlays will be
God.
messed
no
up,
no
man?
let me
You know how
let
many backboards gonna be
let
messed
me
up?
explain the trade. Exactly. So this is the trade proposal that he had, right? So this is from Bobby Marks. It's not from me. This is from Bobby Marks on the Blow Post podcast. So he proposed to trade that the Knicks trade Alec Burks, Evan Fournier,
I like Alec Burks for the Lakers.
and
So they should go out and get him though. I
yo,
think he
he's a
could be
fourth
half for two.
quarter
I think he could be
fourth
half for a
quarter
second round
scorer.
pick though.
Fourth,
Y'all can
so
have DJ back.
two waive him. We had him before. We waived him. So Alec Burks, Kemba Walker, Evan Fournier to the Lakers for Russell Westbrook in the 2027 first round protected pick.
Why are we giving y'all a first round?
Come on, so we're not giving you first round. We're not giving you first round for that. That's OD.
What? Yo,
That's OD. That's OD. You could get. You know what you can get? You can get because we got I believe I think we got 3 second-round picks in that trade for Russ. We got from Washington. Y'all can have all 3 of those second-round picks.
He was saying that that pick was from the John Wall trade with the from the John Wall trade from Houston and Washington.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But to
But
me, it really doesn't make sense because okay, you get rid of give so I get Russ, but my point guard situation is still not been solved. Maybe short term, but long term,
but
no.
it
And
is
then none of
better
them,
than what it is now, though. You got
yeah,
to give it. If y'all
it's
had
better
Russ,
than
Russ would
yeah,
be better for you guys now
yeah,
than
yeah.
what you guys currently have.
Because Curry right now is like it's a hot mess for the starting five. I
The
mean,
only
last
concern is that if the slander that Russ gets from
oh
Laker
yeah,
fans,
oh yeah,
oh my
it's
God,
going to get
from New
worse.
York
It's going to
fans,
get worse. It's going to get worse.
I can't.
You think Julius Randle is having it real bad? Come on, man. If they do that to
But
Russell Westbrook,
but here's the thing though. Here's a difference though. Why I think Knick fans would actually embrace Russ more than what Julius Randle, because Russ at the end of the day is not gonna make excuses. He's not gonna
exactly.
chastise the fans. He's
He's
not
not
gonna
going to
do the
boo.
whole.
He's not going
He's
to
not gonna do any of that. Russ is just
and he's not going to avoid the media after every loss.
right. Like Russ may miss out on a couple of media games. I mean media interviews, but like he'll face the media. He'll face the fans. And he'll talk. So
Hmm.
like yes, like I think I just I just think defensive coaches and Russell Westbrook don't go together, right?
No,
So
they
like
don't.
Vogel obviously is having trouble trying to get him ingratiated. And then and our coaching staff is putrid. I mean, Fizdale is terrible. Everybody, I'm
Oof,
just gonna put this out there. I'm looking dead at the
oof.
camera. You, David Fizdale, you are a terrible offensive-minded coach. Seriously. Anywho, um,
War criminal.
this is disgusting. It's
You got
disgusting.
David Fizdale on your Lakers as a war criminal, and I got Tom Thibodeau on my
It's
as coaching
disgusting.
my team as a war criminal. Like, come on, man.
It's
Rotations are
disgusting.
trash. I had to watch Todd Gibson play 25 minutes in a 20-point blowout, and no Jericho Sims,
Dude, I gotta
and no
hold on,
Cam Reddish.
hold
They
on,
just
hold
got
on,
Cam
hold
Reddish, and they're
on,
playing putting
hold on,
Alec Burks in. Like, what am I doing?
hold on. Frank Vogel is putting out lineups of Russ, THT, and Avery Bradley. That's what he's putting out on the floor, bro.
and I
Those 3
can't
guys are on
and
the floor at the same time.
and
Mm.
I can't remember the last time
Ooh.
Dwight has played center. I can't remember.
It's
Well,
insane.
opposed to tonight, but before that, I couldn't remember the last time because he got Melo playing the five.
And then he had Ariza, and Ariza. I'm gonna look at the camera again. Trevor Ariza, you are washed, brother. Washed, my guy. It's done. Hang it up. Seriously. Anywho, just Lakers stressing me out. But yeah, I just think Russ in New York City though would be like really, really exciting. At the end of the day, he puts on highlight reels. I just think the makeup is going to be weird because I just don't see Russ and Julius Randle together on the same court.
Yeah,
That is a
that's
And
crazy.
disaster
That's
waiting to
crazy.
happen.
And
you talking about disaster now with Julius Randle, the starting five. Him and Russ, oh my gosh. And with Tibbs as head coach,
yeah,
yeah, it's gonna be a nightmare shooting
Yeah.
bricks.
Now it helps the Lakers, right? Because it kind of frees up a little bit. You get shooting. Um,
You can mix and match with Burks, LeBron, AD.
yeah, like
Um,
I mean, I still think the starting five would be AD at the five. Um, you have obviously LeBron as your point forward. Your small forward would probably be Stanley Johnson. And your two guard would probably
who just
be
signed a 2-year contract.
yeah.
yeah.
Which shout out to
Who just
Stanley,
signed a
man. He's
2-year
been playing
contract.
really well. He well
Well
deserved.
deserved. Well
Well
deserved.
deserved.
Hmm.
Your two guard would still probably be Avery Bradley, knowing Frank Vogel, and then the point guard situation becomes tricky. Um, if Kendrick Nunn decides to be like, okay, I can walk again, then he'll probably slide into that slot. But I don't know. It's just for me. It's just I don't see the Lakers trading Russell Westbrook unless like Ben Simmons can be had. Honestly, like if Ben Simmons can be had, I think the Lakers are making that move in a heartbeat because one, it's you could tie him up with Anthony Davis down the line, and Ben Simmons has legit aside from the shooting, same skill set as LeBron James, right? And so plus I think defensively, what he adds would be it'll be beautiful for the Lakers. Yeah, he doesn't shoot, but like defensively, he's gonna help so much from a perimeter standpoint because the Lakers have no guards that can guard anybody. Let's be honest. Like, yeah, Avery Bradley's probably our best defender, and that's bad. At this stage of his career, that we're relying on him to be our best perimeter defender. So, you got Austin Reeves, who's going to get better with time. He's only a rookie and he's undrafted. And then Stanley Johnson is our, on just recently signed a two-year deal, but he was on a 10-day. So, it's just listen. I don't think they're trading Russ. I don't think it happens. But what do you? So my second question is, um, who do you see getting traded first out of these three names? Julius Randle, Miles Turner, or Jeremy Grant?
Miles Turner.
Why?
Because if you're going to have to trade for Jeremy Grant, he's going to want a 4-year, $112 million extension. That's one. Julius Randle, his contract. Remember, he signed an extension. He signed a new contract extension, so his new contract doesn't kick until the next year. But there's still wiggle room that he might be on the way out. So you never know about that. I still think Miles Turner, even though he has a foot injury, because the Pacers they're going to have to shop around and rebuild because they can't. They're lottery bound. Miles Turner's name's been in trade talks for like since the summer. So, and plus they need to clean up that front court with him and Sabonis, and he has more value now than Sabonis has right now. So, plus, I think so. I know Sabonis. I know Sabonis is playing right now, but Miles Turner with his shooting and the way he can play defense and guard the paint and block shots.
When you look at it that that is understandable.
There's going to be teams out there that are going to need him down the stretch and to make a playoff push.
Yeah.
Once he returns back on the floor. Yeah. So I think Miles Turner has more value right now than Sabonis on the Pacers. But also, if you're looking at Jeremy Grant, he's going to want an extension if you trade him to a contender, and for a contender who has the salary cap to sign him to that deal.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think he went to because when he went to Detroit, it was kind of like very questionable to all of us. And then when it was confirmed that like he wanted to be the guy, it was like, bro, in Detroit though, like all right, you have a solid skill set, but it's not like I'm the guy type skill set, like, at role play at best, So right. I think it also comes down to knowing your worth as well, too. So like Eric just said, there's no team that's going to take him and still going to want to pay him all this money and still have pieces that they need to contend for a championship. So that's him. Then with Julius, go ahead.
I think with the Jeremy Grant situation, though, yeah, he may say that, but I think it's more so depending on the situation.
Yeah, that's another thing as well too. Yeah,
because like you want to be the man, but like, and again, I'm not trying to be biased, like, but let's just say any contender, he gets traded to the Lakers, Nets, Bucks, the Bulls, whatever. Like, you have an opportunity to do something special,
right?
And I think I just feel like he'll value that more than wanting to be the man, unless he gets traded to a team that's really not good or in contention to win.
But then again, I'll say this, like I don't know anybody personally in the NBA, but I can tell you one thing: like playing in the NBA and making money, and that's it. That's a real thing. Like no aspirations of winning a championship. Like that's a real thing. I think a lot of
some players are just there for the bag, honestly.
Yeah, like especially what they had to go through to get there. Like that is the championship for them. That's the ultimate goal. Not saying that that's for him for the case, but like I wouldn't look away from that. That possibly could be the case. So with Julius in this situation, I don't see the Knicks pulling the plug because like we spoke about earlier, like they're kind of in purgatory right now. Like they're trash, but also they have high expectations of where they want to go. So like that's why I was asking Eric before we got on the show, like, who would you be satisfied trading Julius Randle for?
Yeah, hold on. Let's ask Eric because obviously he's the Nick savant, right? I need to know because I texted him this earlier when he sent me the report that the Knicks are like Julius Randle may be shocked this
So who
this
would you be
season,
interested
and
in
I said
receiving back?
who would you want back, and he never answered that question. So please educate the masses, Eric. If the Knicks were to give up Julius Randle, who do you expect to get in return? And be as unbiased as possible.
All right, so if the only way I'll do this is if I'm getting them straight up.
Here we
If
go.
it's
Here we
if
go.
it's if
Here we
it's
go.
if it's for Ben Simmons alone, I'm doing it straight up. Him and
You're not
Julius
getting
Randle.
Ben Simmons.
I know,
Daryl Morey's gonna hang up the phone so quick. He's gonna hang up
but
the phone so quick. Unless,
but unless
hold on, wait. Unless the only way you're getting Ben Simmons is a 3-team deal. I'm sorry,
3-team
like
deal.
that's the only way where the Sixers are getting a all-star point guard or an all-star caliber player in return, and the Knicks get Ben Simmons, and that third team who sent that all-star to the Sixers is getting Julius Randle. That's the only way. That's the same thing I have the same sentiment I have about the Russell Westbrook thing. Like Russ won't be traded unless it's a 3-team deal, honestly, or multi-team deal that's more than 3 or 4. You know what I mean? Like it's such a complex deal. Because that's how we got him too, right? Like when we traded for Russ, it was the Lakers, the Wizards, the Nets, and the Pacers. Like it was all those teams. It was a 14 deal. So
I'm gonna give you something. I'm gonna give you like a little hot take.
this guy he's gonna make me walk off the show. He's
No,
gonna make me walk off the show.
I'm gonna surprise you. Say if the Utah Jazz
All right, nope. I know where you're going. Nope.
lay them out in the first round
No. I don't want to hear
for
the
for
whole date. The Mitchell. I can't
Donovan
even
Mitchell.
get it.
Why? Because he's a
Donovan
Met
Mitchell.
fan and he's from
We gotta stop.
Queens.
We gotta stop this. How
No,
many?
because no, it's not for me. But I heard because I was listening. I was watching SNY, and they were saying like, okay, if for some reason if Utah loses in the first round, NBA scout was saying that there's only a matter of time. Donovan Mitchell was to axe out of Utah and go to New York. Do I believe him? No, because he's still under contract. He still signed. He signed a
He signed to
He signed a 20
2026.
exactly.
He signed
So
a 5-year, $163 million deal. Julius Randle's making how much?
is
What's his contract?
his contract next year is 4 years, 117.
Yeah. So you're gonna have to send not only Julius Randle to make the money work, you're gonna have to send someone else, right? And I'm sure I can guarantee you
He's either one of the young guys.
it's going to the Jazz are gonna be
Quickly,
like, give us quickly. If you want Donovan
Grimes,
Mitchell, you're gonna have quickly coming off
quickly,
that, bro. Or Obi
Grimes,
Toppin. Somebody
Obi.
coming up. You gotta give it up. You're not getting him straight up, bro. You're not.
But
So I cut that out. Please. I hope you don't really believe that.
no,
You're
I'm not.
getting Donovan Mitchell straight up for Julius
Listen.
Randle.
It was just a trade speculation I read from
No.
SNY. So
I'm not saying, but look,
it's
listen,
not for me.
I'm
So
not. No. I know Ian Bagley and all those guys, but listen, it's not. I'm not saying that you can't get Donovan Mitchell, but if you want Donovan Mitchell,
you're gonna have to
don't
pay up.
think. Yeah, don't think it's just Julius Randle and that's it. It's gonna be Julius Randle, some picks, and
But
some of them young guys.
but I think I think it's gonna be
And he's under contract to 2026. So he doesn't have any leverage to be like, oh, I want to go here, trade me here, or I'm not resigning. Like, the Jazz could be like, no, the Knicks don't
actually
have a good enough offer.
well
Look what they did to Ben. Listen, all I'm saying is, what the ownership of Philly is doing, they're setting the standard of what the owner's been feeling all these years. As soon as that CBA pops off, oh my God, they're gonna be at the front of the line negotiating, situations like this. Like,
but there could be an under the table deal that we don't even know. So I'm just letting you know. We're just saying that
Utah not playing ball. And
it doesn't have to be Utah Jazz. It could be some other team that we don't even know that might have interest in him. So we just don't know who it is and who the Knicks want in return for Julius Randle. So I really can't.
But what I'm asking is, aside from the other news, right? You said Ben Simmons. Who else would you want, or you think is realistic that you can get for Julius Randle right now?
Right now,
You want Otto Porter?
no Otto Porter Jr. Let him stay in. He's right. Where's he? Golden State? Yeah,
Golden
he's
State.
good. He's good in Golden State.
Nah, I just saw him score a bucket. That's why it just came up to mind.
I think only is Sacramento, but okay, maybe Harrison Barnes, but okay.
Would you take on Tobias Harris's contract?
God no, but jeez,
he would be better
he would fit.
He would be a way better fit for you guys, like because he can.
And also he will fit Tobias Harris, but that contract is just like so ugly, man.
Yeah, it is ugly. It is very ugly. But I'm just saying he does fit. He does fit your system.
Also, I read from one of these Knicks blogs, which makes no sense. So James Harden.
Go on where?
Yeah, James Harden to the Knicks for Julius Randle.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, it doesn't make like the
who
did that,
man?
Who was that? Ballsack Sports?
No, it's from one of the Knicks blogs.
Who did that, man?
It's from one of the Knicks. It's from one of the Knicks.
You taking a Manhattan Bridge?
Come on, man.
I'm like, okay,
James Harden
and Julius Randle straight up. I get it, but no, it doesn't make sense.
First of all, let's just get this out there, right? Because since you brought up James Harden,
James Harden wants to go to Philly.
James Harden's going to go to Philly, like, and there's a reason why. And I read this too. There's a reason why Philly's so enamored with getting off of Tobias Harris's contract, because it allows a max slot to go right in without any other roster movement. So if you get off Ben and you get off Tobias Harris, you'll potentially have a max slot and a half, so to speak, to get that salary. So, which is why they feel like they're going to get James Harden, because if they can get Ben Simmons, they can get off of Tobias Harris. They'll just probably wait till the offseason and say, yo, we got a max slot. We can give you max dollars, ask for a signing trade. You can get that 5-year deal, and then just play with the Sixers for the end of your career with Joel Embiid. And then it's up to the Nets if they want to entertain that Tobias Harris contract. Like that's the Tobias Harris thing is the wild card in all of this, because his contract is so lucrative. If that trade goes down, the signing trade goes down, it's gonna have to be a multi-team trade where someone else is gonna want to absorb that contract, maybe OKC or somebody. You may have to give another first-round pick for them to take that. You know what I'm saying? And
okay. So this is the whole James Harden Julius Randle thing. Okay, so this is from Daily Knicks. So he said, why Julius Randle for James Harden swap makes sense? I'm like, huh? Okay. So this is their reasons why. Okay, hold on. I'm sorry. Okay, so there's been speculation that James Harden may test free agency in the summer.
That's no speculation. Everyone knows that.
Everyone knows that. So, and while some may say he's just angling for a max contract extension, there could be some truth to the matter as well. James Harden will certainly take a pay cut if he left Brooklyn before receiving an extension, but any team on the planet with even close to the necessary cap space will be interested in his services. Teams will blow up everything they've been working on for years if it meant they had a chance at signing Harden. So he will get his money one way or another. As far as Julius Randle, there's been some recent reports that Knicks players have become unhappy with the unfair and uneven treatment of others on the roster. There are even some saying that Julius could be had by the season's trade deadline. So, right, so they're gonna give reasons why. So should the Nets consider this New York Knicks trade for Julius Randle? There have been some speculation that James Harden doesn't like living in Brooklyn. So those who are going to rebuttal this idea by bringing that up. So, okay, so this is the trade proposal that they had. The Knicks get James Harden and Paul Millsap.
All right, bro.
Okay.
Well, he's not even
And
there
then-
anymore.
He's not even there anymore. So the trade doesn't make it. The trade Knicks already. And then the Nets will
No,
get.
he's still there. They didn't waive him yet. He's
They
still on the
didn't waive.
roster.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
right.
they,
Still on the
oh, they
roster.
did. Okay,
But-
okay.
But
Okay,
they
so-
agreed that obviously the fit is not working, and they're gonna find a
Oh,
contender.
the part
for him.
ways. Gotcha.
Yeah.
And then the Nets will get Julius Randle, Evan Fournier, Taj Gibson, 2022 first round pick for the Knicks, the Dallas 2023 first round pick, and the Knicks second round picks for 2022, 23, 24.
The Knicks and the who? Nets?
Yeah,
No.
Knicks Nets.
No, I
honestly
honestly doubt the Knicks.
I don't like-
Honestly,
I don't-
listen,
on the
no.
bench.
listen. I honestly doubt the Knicks and Nets would do any business together the same way as now the Clippers and the Lakers
and
won't do any
Lakers.
business
Yep.
together.
Mhm.
I just don't see it happening. I don't see it happening.
I don't see it happening either. It doesn't make any sense for the optics wise, and plus, those two teams, because they're cross-time rivals. Come on now, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Yep.
No, it doesn't make sense at all. But obviously there's other players out there who are on talks. Kenrich Williams from OKC, who I like really good. He's a really good player.
He's a sleeper.
Yeah, they're saying
Yeah,
they're talking about
guy.
getting a first round pick.
OKC wants some first. OKC just wants more picks. Like if you have picks, you can get
You can
people.
get them. You get people.
I don't know. Zach Collins. John Collins. You know what I'm saying? I think.
Get a trade in Atlanta.
Yeah, I think his time is up in Atlanta. They just have to mix up the roster, in my opinion, and because they're not clearly not good. I think you got John Collins and Bogdan, like those two guys. I think they're gonna have to get off of.
Yeah, it was. I think last season it was just lightning, like trapped in a bottle. That's why it worked so well. But now it's like kind of what we were saying in the beginning about like the Knicks. Last year the Knicks, you had no expectations for the Knicks, so that's why the Knicks was able to play good against these teams. Also, there was still they were playing in arenas with no fans as well too, so that also was a key factor.
Fans in a COVID shortened season.
Right. So now, like you're looking at your scouting report, and you're like, all right, like this team is good. Like we could pay attention to these type of things. I think the same thing went for Atlanta as well too. That's why they're not playing that well.
Also, when you look at the landscape of the league and you kind of see what teams need to, what in your opinion, what team has to make a deal, like has to make a move this trade deadline?
I think what you said. What team needs to be?
I will say.
I would say what teams need to be sellers. What teams need to be buyers.
Okay. I think. Go ahead, Amari.
Okay. I would say. I mean, obviously Lake Show, but I will definitely say the Chicago Bulls. They definitely need a wing. If it comes down to it, and they're playing Milwaukee and they're playing the Nets. They need that guy that's going to guard KD, and Derrick Jones and DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine is not the answer. They will get absolutely killed on the defensive end. I mean, there's not too many. Face it, there's nobody that could guard KD. There's nobody that could guard Giannis. But just to bump them around a little bit, a 6'8", 6'9", or a 6'7" dude with long arms who can play the 3 and D. I just feel like they really need a wing that kind of moves the needle for them right now, because if they get in that type of situation, and also even with the Miami Heat as well too, somebody that's because Butler is gonna cause some issues, and we've seen that firsthand, especially in the NBA Finals. Like Butler almost had a triple double every game, and he was the heart and soul of that team, in the bubble. But I just think that the Chicago Bulls need that wing defender if they want to make some noise in the playoffs. So,
I think Cleveland needs to make a deal.
I was thinking Cleveland,
because I think they need more guard play from the wing, because they have Allen, Mobley. Markin is going to come back, but I think they need that other 3 and D just to solidify that lineup. just to balance it out a little bit more. So I can see them making a sneaky trade to land him that 3-and-D guy who can shoot, who can like help him on the late defensively with Mobley and Jared Allen. So I see Cleveland making a deal as one of the buyers. As far as being a seller, obviously Pacers, they need to sell. I
I think
think
the
also
Kings need to sell
Kings
too.
need to sell too. I also think the Knicks need to sell just to for consolidation
Um,
reasons.
punt the season.
No, like consolidate and like move the glut out of that wing
Mhm.
position because they signed they traded for Cam Reddish. It's hard for him to get minutes because he only played 15 minutes since he got to the Knicks.
Mm.
So and they need to play. They need his wingspan. They need his shooting and his playmaking
Yeah,
just to like
indeed.
because Fournier is not cutting it. The starting five is not cutting it at all. They have been a minus all season long. Jeff Van Gundy went ham on them last night on the ESPN broadcast, saying that the starting five needs changes, like major changes, left and right, and they show no energy. And it's gotten to a point where the bench has outplayed the starters on a nightly basis, and they need to really consolidate the starting just to like clean out the glut of the veterans and the young guys. So I think that's
Um,
and still be competitive at the same time.
yeah. Um, sellers. Portland needs to be sellers. I think
Yeah.
Portland just needs to just be like, you know what, we got Anthony Simons. You know, they're 7-4.
Also,
Um,
not see little. They lost him for the
they lost.
season.
Yeah, they lost him too. I think you can get some pieces for Rocco. Obviously CJ McCollum. I,
Nurkic.
Nurkic, you should look to trade as well. For a team that needs a big like Atlanta or something.
Now that
Um,
I think Charlotte needs a big
or,
also.
or
hold
yeah,
on,
or Charlotte too.
now that you mention it, what do you think about Rocco to Chicago? I think
He would
He
fit
would fit
perfectly
perfect.
in
That's
that
yeah, I think he
scenario.
helps them
what about him in Cleveland?
tremendously. Also from a defensive side, yeah,
Yeah, him in Cleveland, where he's a
yeah,
3D guy too, for sure.
yeah.
Um, Obviously, the Lakers need to be buyers and sellers at the same time. Um, but it's just the Lakers don't have too much flexibility right now. They're gonna have to wait till the offseason, I think, in my opinion, to make any moves. I think we're gonna just go down with the ship that we have, unfortunately. The Magic, I think Terrence Ross could be had. I would love to get Terrence Ross on the Lakers. The guy can, catch fire. He's like a Malik Monk, like they're both one and the same, but he's taller, can jump out the gym, obviously. Um, Cleveland should be buyers. The Knicks should be buyers. Well, the Knicks should be selling. Um, Golden State,
That's a pretty interesting team.
because Golden State, you don't know what's happening with Draymond Green, right?
Yeah.
And if Draymond can't go, because he has a pinch, that nerve in the back, and that's some serious stuff. Um,
Miles Turner.
it, hey, listen, man, I was going there.
No,
I
you
was
can Miles
going
Turner.
there.
Miles
I
Turner.
was I was going there.
I mean,
Um,
he's a shooter. He can protect the paint.
yeah, or you call up Minnesota and say,
Carl D.
yo,
Towns.
y'all want Wiseman? Y'all want Kaminga? Y'all want some picks?
Carl D. Towns.
You give us Cat. I know it's unfair to the world because the Warriors legit get everything, but just for a safety net, because you don't know what Draymond is going to end up being like, and it's
Mm-hmm.
something to be said that he got this new media deal. I think it's for a reason. He's
Yeah,
planning. He's planning ahead, because
he's playing his post playing days.
yes, he's So I just think Golden State has some assets that can make a big splash, and I think it's all determined on how Draymond Green is by the time the deadline is here. Um, I think Phoenix stands pat. They're the best team in the league right now with what they have. Um, you
If
know,
I'm watching, what about Washington as sellers?
they want to
They've
get
been
off
falling.
Dinwiddie.
They're falling off the wayside. since the hot
Yeah, but
start.
but Bobby
And
Marks
they
said,
wouldn't
hold on,
let
hold on, hold
go
on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold
Ernest
on,
well
hold on.
too.
Hold on. We gotta address Bobby Marks because Bobby Marks had put out a tweet not too long ago. I haven't found it, but he did put out a tweet if he didn't delete it because Laker Nation has been all over him ever since the Wizards have been on
Oh,
his free fall.
Spencer Dinwiddie.
No. He said that the Russell Westbrook trade was
Oh, Spencer
one
was
of the
one of the
greatest
greatest
trades
trades.
in NBA history, and because the Wizards got such a haul for Russell Westbrook.
And now look, there you are.
Just saying, Bobby Marks, don't speak too
Ooh.
prematurely, buddy. I just that Laker hate is just like crazy. Anywho, but yeah, the Clippers, I think should sell. When I and not to a degree where like they're just like punting the season, but like
Paul George, this injury.
yeah, I don't think Paul George is coming back this year because he's
No.
probably going to have surgery on that shooting arm. He's not going to recover this year from that. It's too late in the season for that. And then, if Paul George doesn't go, Kawhi, I would assume would just be like, yeah, I'm sitting out the rest of the year. And they could just retool everything around those two guys, right? Like I would say you keep Terrence Mann.
I'll keep Reggie Jackson too.
Yeah, and you keep Reggie
Yeah.
Jackson, but everyone else should be expendable. Like I
Yeah.
think you could get some really good pieces for
What about
Marcus
BJ
Morris,
Boston?
but see,
BJ Boston.
BJ Boston,
I
you
like
may
the
have to
Storm,
give up in order to
Eric
get.
Coffey as well too. He's pretty decent, pretty solid.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
but you may have to give up BJ Boston to get some good
Yeah.
pieces, right? You have to maybe attach him to a player because like that Luke Kennard contract is kind of crazy. So
Yeah, it is. It was before, but now I think it's a bargain.
you know what I'm saying? So like
Oh, and
if
speaking of Luke Kennard, that Wizards Clipper game a couple nights ago,
yeah, that was
Insane.
like
yeah. But
guy,
but the last 2 minute report came out, and then the ref
they said
said
they shouldn't have counted.
it never should have counted. Which is I hate the last 2 minute report because what does that do? It does nothing.
Yeah.
It does nothing.
It does nothing.
But I think those are the teams that should be stellars. And obviously we don't know what's going to happen with Ben Simmons with the Sixers. I think personally they're just wasting Joel Embiid's MVP year this year. Because legit, I think if Ben Simmons was there or they had someone comparable, in place of him, they'll be a contender to win it all. Because Joel Embiid is playing that damn good.
Mhm.
But he did get cooked by AD tonight, and he's on the way. So this, anywho, but we still lost, so whatever. We got to take that on the chin. But that's all I have. Obviously, last segment is the All-Star game, right? Tonight we got the All-Star starters for the East and West. So what are your thoughts? Obviously, the big talk is Andrew Wiggins getting selected as an All-Star starter
The,
for Team LeBron. Um, yeah, it's kind of fitting, right? Team LeBron traded him away, and now he's an All-Star on his team.
the memes are hilarious, man.
Yeah, honestly, personally, right? Like I just think to a fault. I think because he took the second forward slot, correct?
Yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
Because the
Yep.
center was Jokic, right?
Yeah.
The
And
two forwards were LeBron
uh,
and Wiggins, and the
yep.
two wings, the two guards were
Guards,
Steph
Steph
Curry
and
and Ja.
Ja.
and John Morant. Now, a lot of people are complaining about it, and I get it, right? Personally, I think Cat could have taken that spot
Mhm.
um, for as a starter. Ingram could have possibly, but I think Ingram was hurt for extended amount of time. Um, you know what I'm saying? And you look at the landscape. There's really no one else in the West that could kind of like, in my opinion, take his slot.
Yeah.
If Draymond was healthy, Draymond would have got that I think that nod.
Mhm.
And if obviously if AD was healthy, I think AD would have been a shoe-in. This is Anthony Davis.
We could say the same thing for Kawhi,
Right,
PG,
exactly,
all of them if they was playing. Yeah.
exactly. So it was to a fault, and it is what it is. For Kevin Durant now, for Team Durant, obviously KD's not playing. The rundown for Team Durant is you have Durant, you have Giannis, you have Embiid, DeRozan, and Trey Young as the five for Team Durant. Um, Obviously Durant's not playing. A starter replacement, maybe I say you make Giannis the captain because
Yeah.
I think he had the second
Mhm.
most votes
Mhm.
behind KD for the East, and then I think LaMelo Ball should be the All-Star replacement.
Okay.
Mm.
So we talked about this earlier, and I was thinking about Jimmy
Or
Butler as
Darius
well
Garland,
too.
one of
But
those two guys.
but if you put if you put somebody of a lesser stature than KD and have them be the captains, like yo, that's crazy.
Yeah,
Like so
yeah,
I do like that idea
Mhm.
of them moving like Giannis to like to be the captain of the team because it's still you still gotta like advertise this as well too.
right. Yeah, exactly.
They do the little draft show like
Mhm.
a week or two right before the All-Star game. So just imagine having Braun on one side and you got LaMelo Ball. Even though LaMelo Ball, like people know him, like because of the whole Ball family, LeVar Ball,
Yeah,
all that. But
but having him as a captain, I don't know. Yeah,
right,
nah.
or
Yeah,
Yeah.
Darius Garland, it's like yo, who is this kid?
yeah.
Like or right. But opposed to having Giannis and who else is on the? We got Giannis,
It's
uh,
Giannis, Embiid,
Giannis,
Embiid.
Embiid.
Yeah,
KD, Trey
Trae
Young,
Young. Like that's
and DeMar
crazy.
DeRozan. Yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Come on.
Who now to fill out the rest of the roster? Who do you guys think will be selected by the coaches?
Um, I think it's Garland,
Mm-hmm.
Jared Allen in the East.
Ooh,
Ooh.
yeah.
Yeah.
We start with the East first. Yeah.
All right. So the East. I like Darius Garland and Jared Allen.
Okay.
Um,
And I think it's only what 10, 10 roster spots in total. Is it 12? It's
I
12.
think it's
I think
12.
It's
it's I
12.
think it's
12.
12.
So
Yeah,
he
it's
has a
12.
5. So that's 5. Garland and Jared Allen, that's 7.
Mm-hmm.
5 more. Um, LaMelo,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
that's 8 so far.
Jimmy.
Jimmy, that's 9.
hmm
Mm-hmm.
Zach Levine, that's 10.
What about Bam?
But I don't think Zach. I think Zach may be out. Is he? Is he out?
No,
I
He
he's
think
might be
playing.
out.
No, he's playing.
he's
Oh, that's
playing.
right.
He's
He
playing.
wore the Kobe yesterday. He wore the Kobe ones yesterday. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's back.
Yeah, he's back.
Bam Adebayo.
Mm,
Um,
no, because he had that. Remember, he missed 24 games with that thumb
got
surgery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Fred VanVleet
I can see that.
I think Fred gets
I
in.
can see that. Yeah.
and I'm gonna put
Tatum.
Jason Tatum.
Tatum.
Jason
Yeah.
Tatum.
Say
Tatum.
hit him.
And then
Okay.
the player I'm leaving off the cut line, Miles Bridges and Kyrie Irving.
Miles Bridges. So
Yeah,
he
yeah.
he might be. So remember how we all picked most improved Jordan Poole? I think it
Hmm.
might be Miles Bridges, yo.
Yeah, yeah. He may
Yeah,
get
he
that.
may
He
he
may
may
Yeah,
get
see
and
that.
that.
I think he's an all-star, man. I
Yeah.
think so. Yeah.
And in the West, I'm thinking for to round out the roster, Luca
Luca.
and Devin Booker got to be in.
Yep.
Yeah.
See,
Mm-hmm.
Chris Paul.
Chris Paul.
Chris Paul, that's 3, so that's 8 so far.
Yep.
Um,
Cat.
yeah, Carly Towns, that's 9.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
2
Uh,
more.
yo, it's crazy. The West is so
Yeah,
like
and plus,
so.
I'm looking on the list. It's like half of the players from the Western Conference are injured
That's what
or
I'm saying.
been out.
Yeah. Yep.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So do I put Donovan Mitchell? That's number 10.
But yeah,
Yeah.
to fill out the
So you got
roster. Yeah.
2 more. I'm gonna put Anthony Edwards in.
Okay.
I like that. I like
That's
that.
number 11.
I like
And
that.
one more. I'm gonna put DeAndre Ayton. Because
Okay.
remember Anthony Davis just came back from injury.
I think AD gets in, honestly, which is I know it's crazy,
Yeah, it's
but
like
I still think he gets in. Like I think he
I
gets in
know.
somehow.
You know how I feel. I don't want no Lake on that team, man.
Yeah.
Or
None of them is hurt by Braun.
or Rudy Gobert.
Oh goodness.
Hell no.
You see?
Oh God.
You
No.
see? You see?
Oh God. Please.
So it's gonna have to be DeAndre Ayton or Anthony Davis. That last spot.
You give it an AD because I don't like the Suns, man. I still feel like I gotta tip my shoulder against the Suns, man. Forget the Suns. That's right. I said it.
Hey, for me,
Or or maybe DeJounte Murray from the Spurs.
Okay.
I
He's
actually
have,
like DeJounte
Yeah.
Murray.
he's
Yeah.
having a nice quiet season, and
Right.
he's on the trade block
Yeah. Yeah.
because someone's gonna need that his size as a point guard
Yeah.
in
Yep.
and for that in the off guard.
Mhm.
I mean, he's number 4 in assists per game this year, so at 9.1, it's not bad, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's not bad at all.
Not bad.
Um, I the only caveat I would say for the East that we should consider is Tyler Hero.
Ooh.
Mm. But
Tyler Hero,
he's not listed though.
Tyler Hero, or
So with Tyler Hero, he's like in the same boat as Miles Bridges. Like when
Most
we
improved.
right, most
Most
improved, but also in this case, like borderline 6-man as well, too, because we projected the Heat, to soon get Victor Oladipo. I know he's been starting some games as well, too, but he's been kind of like borderline, 6-man most improved. So I think that would be a reach. That would be a reach, but I can see it though, yeah. Because he's been playing really, really well this season. He's really been holding them down, yo. Yeah.
Yeah. Does Klay Thompson get in? I don't think he does.
No.
Does Kyrie get in?
No,
I don't think he does either.
Remember the fans don't got no say in this, right? No, right?
Yeah,
coaches.
they don't know.
It's
The
coaches.
coaches do.
The coaches.
So sorry, Kyrie fans, and sorry, Warrior fans. They don't make it. I know y'all probably saying the same thing about 80 as well too, but I don't even feel like he should make it. But hey, the West don't have anybody.
Yeah, the West is kind of
it's kind of bare. It's kind of like it's kind of bare. It's like it's nothing.
Yeah.
Because injuries.
That was my point. That over the last, if AD can if AD plays like he played tonight, until they select the All-Star, he's getting in. Like he's getting in. He's getting in.
Yo, they gonna hate that, man. Fans gonna hate that.
But here's the thing, though, bro. He's averaging 24 and 10.
Yeah. Like, and he's shooting horrible.
He's shooting terrible, but
and the paint is really good, but he's shooting horrible everywhere else.
Before he got hurt, he was averaging 24 and 10 on 2 blocks, right? On 54% shooting in the field. I mean, in the paint. He was shooting 17% from the 3-point line. Yes, I get it, but he led the league in paint points, bro.
Right.
He led the league in paint points.
Yeah.
So like this is nothing. Like he was out for 17 games, but like let's look at the totality of what he's done all year. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, listen, we don't know. I'm sure it's going to be very surprising as the All-Star selections come down and the coaches pick those players.
Oh, David got Derrick Rose on the ballot. Like, dude has.
Yeah, I mean, like John Wall and Ben Simmons got votes.
Ben got 2.
John Wall got 1. So I mean, we'll see. But that's all we got for tonight. Episode 14. We went through a lot of content. There's a lot of stuff, obviously.
There's going to be way more content in this coming weeks because the trade deadline's in 2 weeks from today.
Yep, trade deadline 2 weeks from today. Teams may either get better or sell off, and there may be surprises. I personally think there's going to be a lot of movement for the trade deadline, only because you're going to see teams who are on the cusp of trying to get in the playoffs make moves, and also teams who are contending to win to kind of add pieces to stay afloat. So I think there's going to be a lot of moves happening and I think during the year, and we'll see.
And also, I think there's going to be teams that look at the sell off just to like get under the cap, and just to make and just sell off just to free up money for upcoming free agency in the summer.
Yeah, but
the next couple of summers.
Here's the thing, and this is why I don't think there'll be major moves, but there will be some movement. Because if you look at this free agent this offseason for free agency,
it's not that good.
It's only like 3 teams that have cap space. That's the Magic, the Spurs, and
Thunder.
I think it's the Thunder. Yeah, I think it's the Thunder. Like that's it. So like they're not for nothing. They're not going to attract marquee guys to go sign with them. So not a lot of movement because most of these stars are locked in for multiple years. But we'll see, man. You never know. Like it's the players that fill out the margins that help make team championships. So championship contenders. So we'll see. Like players like John Collins, Jeremy Grant, Miles Turner, Darren Fox, Harrison Barnes, Taylor Horn Tucker, Kendrick Nunn. Like the list goes on of what can be sent out to help certain teams, and some teams may add by subtraction, right? So we'll see. We'll see how it goes, and stay tuned to the next episode 15. And we're gonna have a lot more to cover.
All right, y'all. See you in the next episode. Y'all take care. See you next time. Peace.
Peace.